Welcome to Hot Takes, brought to you by Rain Body Fuel. Shout out to Rain. On this week's Hot Take, my boy Donald Cowboy Cerrone was here at Thiccc Studios, and he alluded to that Jake Paul is a legitimate fighter. He compared to Conor McGregor, the great Conor McGregor, and says he's a big money fight and that he would love to fight him. Then Jake Paul responded on the Schmo show and said, hold up. Is Donald Cerrone out of his UFC contract? And the Schmo said, he is. He went, interesting. But then he said, I'm kind of tired of beating up these old dudes. Now, on the surface, it sounds like Jake Paul's dismissing the idea and wants to fight a legit boxer because he's getting that pressure from the MMA fan base and the boxing fan base, which he's never going to please that crowd unless he fights like a Gervonta Davis or Canelo, which is never going to happen, so get off your high horse. But I actually think this is Jake Paul playing the game. Nobody plays this boxing, aka fight game, better than Jake Paul. I think he's testing the waters here because Cowboy could be a formidable opponent, to say the least. And listen, is Donald Cerrone older? Yeah, he's not a young Huckleberry. He's not a young buck, but he's 8 years younger than Anderson Silva, who was Jake Paul's last fight and was also Jake Paul's toughest fight. He's 8 years younger. He's also a different Donald Cerrone. And Jake Paul, I'm sure you're aware of this. If you haven't seen Donald Cerrone lately, this is not the Cowboy that you've seen who's been fighting the octagon the past few years. This is a completely different Donald Cerrone. This is Hollywood Donald Cerrone. This is jacked to the gills Donald Cerrone. I don't know if you saw him on my Calabasas Fight Companion. I've known Cowboy for 18 years. I've never seen him in better shape. Now that USADA's not forcing him to pee in cups all the time, he can do whatever he wants. That's a problem for anybody who fights Donald Cerrone next. The dude was already a workhorse when it came to conditioning and practice, and now he goes, dude, I can't stop on this stuff, acai, illegal acai. He can't stop. He's never felt stronger. So if you think you're just going to get the normal Donald Cerrone, you are sadly mistaken, Mr. Paul. This is a completely different animal. You're also dealing with a Cowboy who's known for taking short notice fights. No camps, just signing up. Yeah, that's why we love him. He's beloved by the UFC fan base because he would fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. That wasn't always the best for his career, but that's why we love him. So it's a double-edged sword there. But remember, a lot of those fights, he wasn't properly trained, was cutting weight like crazy. But if you fight Donald Cerrone, you got to realize you're not getting that Donald Cerrone. You're getting a much well-rested Donald Cerrone that's just focusing on boxing, and the dude can box. And who else are you going to fight? Let's go through it, Jakey. Who else are you going to fight? Mike Perry's out there. Be a great fight, fun fight. Bigger name than Cowboy? Probably not. Nate Diaz, I haven't heard anything on that. Figure that fight would already get done by now. Haven't heard anything on that. That's a big fight. Bigger than Donald? There's an argument there. Conor McGregor's under a UFC contract. That ain't happening. Forget about it. That ship has sailed for now. It will happen eventually, but not anytime this year. That ain't happening. So Conor's out. Nate's out. Mike Perry's a viable option. I love Mike. That'd be a fun fight, but he's not going to bring in the same eyeballs that my boy Donald Cerrone is. Then you got Tommy Fury. You tried it twice. He's also not a legitimate boxer. It makes no sense. It might be a feather in your cap and might check the box because he has the last name Fury, but in the boxing world, nobody gives that guy any credit. So you're not doing yourself any favors there besides adding more money to your bank account and probably another sweet knockout. But if you actually want to test, you want to test yourself to one of the best to ever do it in the UFC, a first ballot Hall of Famer who's not over the hill and who is ready to go. Donald Cerrone is your Huckleberry. I just spoke to the man. Close friend of mine. I said, yo, Cowboy, you see this stuff with Jake Paul? He goes, I sure did. He goes, if he's willing to undergo drug testing, tell him to send me the damn contract. I'm ready to go. Your move, Jakey. It's the biggest fight possible for you right now. There's no Conor. There's no Nate. There's no Tommy Fury. But there's Donald Cerrone and a brand new version of Donald Cerrone. Take my money, boys. I hope the fight happens. I hope you hear this, Jake. I know you will. I hope the contract comes to fruition. I hope you boys make more money than God and you both sail off into the sunset with just bags of cash. It'd be a great fight. It'd be a tough fight for both of you. Make it happen. Your move, Jakey.